Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the show. Here we are, Saturday night. Let's get into it. Old Dog and Zippy, episode one. My name is Sam. Old Dog and Zippy is the name of a public access show I started back in the 90s as a teenager. It was a lot of different stuff, living life in New York City. Old Dog and Zippy had different iterations. We had that show back in the mid 90s, and then in the early 2000s, 2003, the lead up to the Iraq War, we did a show that was, protesting the war, and we talking about rallies. Where's the next rally going to be? That kind of stuff. That was a fun time. And then there was other iterations. This was all on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. That's the public access in Manhattan. All the five boroughs. Everyone has their own public access channel. What can I say? This is the days before YouTube. You could put yourself out there that way. And Bronx had BronxNet. Queens Public Television. Uh, Brooklyn is BCAT now. I think they call it like Brick TV or something else. Free Speech TV, maybe. I don't really know what Staten Island's public access is. But there you have it. You had the different public access channels. That's what Old Dog and Zippy was. So on this show, this new Old Dog and Zippy, we're gonna, just do some rants, do some music videos, different art pieces. If you all want to get involved, we can share your comments. So post in the comments if anyone's watching, and well, let's get right into it. All right, so our first rant is going to be about factory farming, vegetarianism. I've been moved by the stuff that's been going on, and I do think that this is some stuff that we should get into here. So let's check that out.
I want to talk about boycott. When you see a problem, just like the late great John Lewis said, you got to step up, you got to do something about it, you got to say something about it. When I see these fucking companies doing fucking bullshit on their workers, I'm going to boycott those products. Now, I've already been off meat for various reasons. I mean, most really going back to being a little kid is just um that shit upsets me to see those animals suffering. You see those books, Diet for a New America. I saw the pictures of the cows, fucking pigs packed so tightly together. They go crazy. They bite each other's tails off. It's not good. The mind body connection. The meat is bad, man. Those animals are crazy. You're eating that crazy meat. Milk. I always used to talk about this when I was a kid. The cow's revenge. I don't even see it that way because I don't see the cows really as being vindictive, but like those cows are fucked up in those I don't know, I'm laughing. The cows are fucked up in those factory farms. Like it's not a good situation. Out here in the country, I see these cows, and I just want to make clear, I'm not in some fucking New York country shit. I'm at a country house. It's where I live now in the fucking sticks. I broke my ties. Well, I shouldn't say that. I didn't break my ties with New York, but you see a lot of beef cattle around here. They cut those cows' balls off. Did they cut the dick off too? Like, it's unclear to me. Like, it's not a good scene. It's not a good scene for those cows. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Just like a mass castration of those animals? Like, whoa, like let's take it down a notch. Let's take a fucking step back here and reassess what the hell's going on. Like that's what's good. That's what makes the meat good. gonna mess with their ding dong? That's crazy. I mean, crazy. It just seems slightly, if not insanely, over the top misguided. But all that stuff aside, and then there's the health issues because with especially the low quality stuff, the hormones, the antibiotics. This is the red meat, it's carcinogenic. Our bodies is not designed to be eating mass quantities of red meat. Maybe when we were living the clan life in a winterized environment, where it gets cold and stuff, you got to take down a deer or a fucking mammoth or whatever the fuck, every once in a while. But our system is just clearly not designed for this everyday, all day meat consumption. You look at a carnivore's colon, that shit is smooth. It's just a smooth tube. But our colon has these ridges in it. It's got the ridges. It's really different. It's much, it's different. We're not designed to be eating meat every meal. Anyway, so there's health issues involved, and then of course like heart disease and stuff like that, diabetes. People got issues. Like it's not the current diet is not working out. Okay, so there's all those issues. But what I'm saying, boycott. You look at what these companies are doing, the big companies, and there's some recent news, Tyson, Smithfield, companies, mind you, that are netting billions of dollars. And what is netting? I know my savvy B school people know what that is. But I just, for my own edification here, this is after the company has paid everyone's salary. This is after the company has paid for all the overhead, all the fucking Christmas bonuses. Okay. Then this is the net. And you're looking at companies that are netting like $2 billion a year. And like they still can't see fit to treat their workers good, the people on the cutting room floor. That's ridiculous. So boycott those industries. If you're going to eat meat, eat the local organic stuff. Whatever, organic. You want the chemicals, fine. But I'm just saying, like, eat the fucking local farmers that, maybe everyone's living a little bit. It's not like a crazy company where they're just like, fuck you, like give me more. And and it's not just some human being, it's like the shareholders, it's the system, it's the capitalist system. It's not to be reductive about it, but it's the shareholders. It's like the company has to make more money for the shareholders. You can't tell the shareholders like, we're going to take the foot off the gas here, you know what I mean? We're going to take the $2 billion we made extra this year and just like take care of our workers, like just make sure, like, what, we're gonna just bump up everyone's salary at the lower end of the company. Like that's just not gonna, what, like with the stock is just gonna stay at this price, like that. It just, that's just not how the system works. So the system is not a cool system in that way. I mean, it's cool if you got your money in it, but a lot of people don't have their money in it, don't really have the wherewithal. I'll buy a fucking couple shares of this fake meat. You want to say I'm hot stock tip? I don't want to drive shit up, but maybe get in there. But what am I gonna fucking do? Buy a share or two? That's not gonna be a kingmaker. The couple shares, 10 shares of a company that doesn't make your dreams come true. You know what I mean? Maybe buys you a fucking dinner. So okay, so I'm saying boycott companies like that, boycott the meat industry, boycott these fucking companies. I see this motherfucker Tucker Carlson on here, fucking shit for brains sniveling toad piece of shit. Sorry to go so hard, but like really, like the Fox News crowd, it's just like, I'm cursing up a storm here and stuff, but like these people, it's like the sneering, it's very nasty, the tone. Rachel, Chris Hayes, they could get worked up, but it's not like that, it just doesn't approach that kind of like snarling kind of thing that the people on Fox do. But saying, because I flip over there because I'm in this part of the country where people are watching that stuff. I want to see like, oh well, what are they watching? What are they consuming? What do I need to know that these people heard last night on the TV when I walk amongst them with my, whatever, my curls. Um and and my I don't know, I'm a Yankee. I'm a Jew from New York. What the fuck do you want? All right. But uh so I'm watching, I turned that on, I flipped over there for a second, and he's talking about Nike, having their stuff made, or whatever, their sneakers or clothing made by Uyghurs who are like enslaved and being fucked over real hard, real horror movie shit in China. I mean, not to say there's horror movie stuff going on in this country, of course, too. I was just saying that that's, also some of the world's horror movie shit at this moment in time. And so, uh, uh, and he's like, oh, well, the left isn't saying anything. Yeah, I mean, what the fuck do you want? I mean, I'm saying something about it. Yeah, don't fucking buy Nike shit. Don't fucking buy Reebok while you're at it. I mean, does that company even still exist? Like, I don't really see that shit around. But it's like, yeah, we've known this. I've known this shit's going back to the 90s, like about slave labor, child labor, bad news situations going on in places like Honduras. It's not good. Fucking Guatemala, this bad news where kids at least are going to school in this country. I mean, it's not a great situation over here, but like there, the kids are making the clothes for the kids over here. So, yeah, fucker, like, yeah, fuck those companies. But I don't, you know what I mean? And what do you want? Sure, like there's an elite on the left too. There's a power elite to the left, that are in bed with the corporations. Biden seems like he comes from that crowd, and that's certainly problematic. But and that maybe that's a whole separate issue. I think you do just need to vote blue. I voted for Nader back in 2000, and while that might have not made a difference in New York, it seemed to have it apparently made a difference with the election of Whack Bush, W. Bush, and or as opposed to Great Whack Bush, GW. I mean HW. What the fuck am I saying? HW, Herb Whack Bush. Anyway, so my point here is like, yeah, boycott those companies and stand up for what's right. When you see things are wrong, like you don't need to keep buying those products. You don't need to keep subscribing to those services. I was watching an awesome documentary. The Last Dance is really, really cool just to watch that. I don't think I ever had a pair of Air Jordans though. Because I just, yeah, fuck Nike. I mean, I'm sorry, like they have some good messaging these days, but that is one of the funny parts of this whole situation we're in, where these big time corporations, like, they'll do anything to make a buck. So like it's propaganda. All right, whatever. So it's been a long rant. Check out some other stuff. We're gonna do phone call segments. We're gonna do music videos, nature interludes, homemade music. We're gonna have guests. We're gonna have interviews, lots of other stuff. So check out the new Old Dog and Zippy, and welcome in. All right, peace and love. Thank you.
Okay, so it is what it is. We have the bad lighting and stuff. It's not Hamilton, folks. You know what I mean? We're gonna get political. We're gonna talk about stuff, but this is not this is not polish. This is some type of art, I guess. And just blessed, count your blessings. Thank you to Megan Finn and Danielle King, and the rest of my people at the tank, for this opportunity just to come on here. And I don't know. I mean, at this point in the show, it feels like what am I doing here? I'm just throwing up onto the page, kind of thing. But I hope that there's some we could discuss. And maybe as shitty as this show is, you know what I mean. You'll say it's like, man, that guy's got that shitty show, and it'll inspire you to create something awesome. I don't know where that got muted, but you create something awesome with your time. All right, let's get right back into this, and we're gonna just do another little interlude here. There's a lot of injustice in our society. Black lives matter. Of course, this goes without saying. We must make a society where everyone is living well. And we have a whole community of people who are being completely disenfranchised by this country. And this is the way this country was built. It's fucked up. We got to do something about it. So here's some stuff. I don't know. Just here's another rant. Um, I'm not trying to white splain here. Fuck that shit. Um, so come on with your comments. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it. Let's keep the pedal to the metal. Let's keep protesting. Let's keep getting out in the streets, doing something about it. Let's spend our lives. You can't take it with you. What are we supposed to do here on earth? We're all going to the same place in the end. So why don't we spend our time trying to work hard to make a better place for us to live in? Because if anyone in our society is suffering, then the whole society is suffering. You know, no one's, I mean, I guess, you have some people out on a yacht or something. They're probably chilling in the fucking Mediterranean or something, um, but it's like those people should realize like it's a disgusting world and you got to work hard and fix it. So here's another rant. Black Lives Matter. Oh, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I'm new with this tech. I'm new with this live stream. I don't know if I put audio on that. This is good. I used to edit video, deck to deck and stuff like that, and then doing theater stuff. But this is the new shit. Okay, here we go.
Goes without saying. Goes without. Black Lives Matter. It goes without saying. Goes without saying so much that when I see on social media white guys that, as far as I can tell, and with all due respect, hey, what do I know? But they have no association with the black community whatsoever, and they're posting Black Lives Matter. It seems corny as fuck to me. Like where I come from, and New York City has its problems, tons of fucking racism in New York City and horrible lynching events in places like Bensonhurst and Howard Beach. But it just seems like, yeah, of course, that's not even a question. That's how we were raised. If you have a half a brain and you know what I mean, like had your eyes open, um, to be to discriminate against any group of people is horrid, wretched behavior. It's inexcusable behavior. There's systematic racism in our country. In a place like New York City, the irony is that New York City schools are more segregated than any school system in the country. So, like, bumfuck, wherever I am right now in Virginia, has a much more integrated school system than they have in New York City. You know, big old progressive, fucking woke New York City. You have schools where it's an all black school receiving a much lower quality of education than they have, you know, a mile over in the white neighborhood that, not for nothing, also used to be a black neighborhood, but you know, they had some nice fucking brownstones in that area. So, you know, that's that. They did some fucking aggressive policing, put those fucking towers up, shining bright lights. You know, it's like, man, that is really some despicable shit, right? It's like the white folks move in. I don't feel it's even important to say the white folks move in. It's like young white kids move in, and then they put up these towers, these bright lights. Like, you'll just have like some fucking Klieg lights on some block by the projects, man. So, but you have this systemic racism where black people just can't get as good an education as the white and Asian people in a neighboring neighborhood. Okay, you have schools where there's a gifted and talented program in school, and the gifted and so you have different classrooms within the same school building where there's white and Asian kids in the gifted and talented class, and then there's black and Hispanic kids in the not gifted and talented class. I mean, what a first off, it's despicable. These kids are not getting the education, and then what lesson are all of these children learning? That's how things are. And when I asked around in, you know, rural Virginia, it's the same thing. Where you have, I don't know if they have gifted and talented programs here. I mean, they have. There's definitely in this area some questions when it comes to education and that sort of thing. That's evidenced by the lack of masks and stuff like that in an area like this. People talking about it's a hoax. One of the things I love to say is like, yo, I'm from New York City, happen to have lots of friends that are either medical doctors or they're hospital administrators, you know, just work in hospitals. Like, these people are not actors. They're not crisis actors. I mean, they're not even actors. They're the most serious people. These are the people that would not go smoke a blunt with me, you know, during lunch, or let alone second period, free second period or something. So, um, I fucking took acid one time and went to school. I'm just saying, like, the people that work in hospitals definitely didn't drop acid or smoke weed. They went right home after school to do their homework. I mean, I don't know, maybe they smoke weed at a party on the weekend or something, but probably not even. You know, they work in hospitals. Like they're serious as fuck, and so that would be my message. But in an area like this, you have um in the schools, I was told, like, there's more black kids in the special ed classes. You know, it is just shameful that this kind of shit is going on across the country, but it's very important to understand that this is part of systemic racism, that black people are not offered the same quality of education that white people are in this country. And then, of course, you look at other statistics like the amount of money that people earn, the type of housing that people have that have available to them. and you see the racism isn't just about people's attitudes, but it's about systemic things. And I like to say, you know, the system is not broken. Oh, the system is working just as the system was designed to work. Man, this county I'm in, Amherst, it's fucking named for this guy, Lord Jeffrey Amherst, Baron of whatever the fuck. It's not even, I mean, I looked him up. It's not even, this guy didn't even come from, nobility per se. He just worked his way up through the military. This motherfucker was like the guy, like you heard this thing about the blankets where they gave like the infected fucking smallpox blankets to the Indians, to the Native Americans. Um, that's that guy. You know what I mean? I don't know if y'all know about the 7 Years War. Some people even refer to that as like World War Zero. Um, but that's basically when Britain took over all of like the French possessions east of the Mississippi. So that really includes like all of the Caribbean. I mean, I guess there were still some French speaking areas at that point, but basically that's when the British clamped down. And I don't know, all of Western Europe's fucking brutal, sick fucks, sowing horrible discord in our world. Um, but it almost seems like at that point in the 1800s or whatever, like whatever, 1700s, 1800s, like the French had become a little bit, I'm not trying to excuse the French here or anything, but it seemed like the French had become a little bit like, oh, okay, like this is these people's island. Like we're not gonna, you know what? They're fighting us very fiercely. It's their island. Like we're just gonna let them live. You know, I don't know if they were letting them live, but it was kind of like it, we're backing off here. And then the British came in and were just like, fuck that. Like here's this British dick. I don't mean to say it like that. That's foul, but because it's really disgusting. Sex is a beautiful thing, but you know, the British came in with some serious brutality. It's funny because in 2020, you think like the world is a little bit more woke, that you wouldn't just go into someone's like island and tell them like, we're here, like, fuck you, like, these are the new laws, like, this is what y'all have to do now. But that's definitely what was going on back then. And I think pretty much like in other ways these days, like that kind of shit is still going on. I went to Walmart, um, I don't have laundry services here, and I don't know, with everything going on, like people don't wear masks here. Like, I don't want to go in the laundromat. I already seen them not wearing masks in the laundromat. Wash and fold, who knows? Like it's, but so I went. I mean, whatever. This is all part of the problem too. Like I bought some new shirts at Walmart, the George brand. I don't know. Like we don't even have Walmart in New York, right? Like I don't, in New York City at least. I've never seen a Walmart except in these other outside of the city areas. They had this George brand antimicrobial. What is that? I asked the sales associate, "What is antimicrobial?" She was like, "Yeah, it's probably just something to do with the fabric." I don't know about that. Like, was the fabric treated? Why do I need? Why do I want my clothes to be antimicrobial? It seems like a little. Like, I didn't ask for that. But you know what? The label, made in Honduras. How can I? How can I, with good conscience, buy clothes made in Honduras? I haven't, I'm not totally up on what's going on in Honduras these days. I mean, aside from the fact that things are so bad in Honduras, like people are like fleeing to the United States and then getting fucked when they come over here. These moms that Megan Finn, from the tank is helping out. The New York theater moms, helping to pay these women's bail when they get here, and they're put in jail basically for like trying to flee their bad situation in Honduras and places like Guatemala and stuff, Central America. But what I do know from the 90s is that in a place like Honduras, like they have basically like teenagers, like young teenagers. Like I remember I was a 14-year-old in the 90s, and then you have 14-year-olds, making my clothes. And those 14-year-olds, as fucked up in education as I got in terms of the whitewashing of history and stuff, um, I got an education. And then meanwhile, my clothes are being made by 14-year-olds in Honduras, who like can't, they don't even get a fucking lunch break or some shit. You know what I mean? Like they they have to like they have to like regulate their bathroom breaks. Can you imagine in your job, like your employer's like, nah, like you can't really go to the bathroom right now. You might lose your job if you go to the bathroom. Some fucking Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. They're like locking the exits, so you don't go out for a break. um and then really sinister, I mean, that's not sinister, but like really then like even sicker shit, like forced contraception, where the female employees leave work, and then they get doled out a pill like fucking Brave New World, except instead of soma, instead of some fucking pill that makes you feel good, it's some shit that makes you sterile, so you could continue to be a productive worker. Um so you have some really sick shit going on in Honduras. And, excuse me for not fucking paying attention, to pre calculus or whatever, even trigonometry. Like, I'm not using that shit in my day to day life. I'm sure, listen, I know I got classmates who went to a very good high school in New York City public, citywide. But you know what I mean? I'm sure some of my classmates do use trigonometry on a daily basis, but I don't. And so it just felt sort of hard to stomach or deal with. Whatever. Maybe I just wanted to fuck off and smoke blunts in second period. But just saying, like, meanwhile, like we're learning this shit that seems like rather inessential. Uh, Again, unless you're, an engineer or something. And meanwhile, there's children my own age, as a 14-year-old at that time, uh, in these horrible factory conditions. So, yeah, I struggled with that Walmart purchase made in Honduras. I don't know, are the clothes made in Vietnam or Dominican Republic or Bangladesh? Like, are those? I don't know if those workers are faring any better, but I didn't see a documentary on those countries' clothing factory workers back in the '90s. But yeah, there was like a really good documentary called Life in Debt, that talked all about the IMF and the World Bank, and how at some point you couldn't get fucking fresh cow's milk in Jamaica anymore because Jamaica did a deal with the IMF, World Bank, where you could just get the whatever it is, like condensed milk, which is, I don't do dairy products anymore, but pardon, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be like Howard Stern on here with the belch, but fuck it, fuck all that decorum. You know where that decorum comes from? That decorum comes from Western Europe. The British came in with that kind of stuff, like belching, farting. Come on, man, that's the least of our problems. Fuck social decency. The society's not decent. Society's quite indecent, and belching and farting is fucking Care Bear shit compared to the horror movie level stuff that's going on in this world. So we got to keep fighting. We got to keep our foot on the gas. These protests are bigger than anything that was happening in the 1960s. And we need to keep going with this because you got to bet on things being beautiful. You got to, you know what I mean? Like, you could be a realist, you could be a pragmatist, but you have to bet on our society being able to progress to a beautiful place, you know? Um, even if that's a losing bet because things are so fucked up, and this is the way things have been for millennia. um but I mean, one has to hope, right, that we could go back to that whole goddess and the serpent days. All right, peace and love, peace and love. See you later.
Hey, okay. Thank you so much for there's another big clip there. Definitely rambly. White folks, let's step up and devote yourselves to Black Lives Matter. We need to change the system, change this racist, sexist system. Keep the pedal to the metal. There's even protests going on in rural areas for Black Lives Matter. Today, I saw a protest in front of the post office, save the post office. You know what I mean? So there's different things, but it's like the main thing is capitalism, this racist society. Time's up. Time's up. It's 2020. Let's let's fight for change. Let's demand of our elected officials that systematic racism be dismantled in this country. All right, peace and love, everybody. All one. The Gaia theory is it's all one. Got the five. You know what I mean. You got your fingers, but it's all connected to the hand. It's really all one thing. You know what I mean? From this, you take a slice of that. Take a slice of that. You're like, oh, blip, 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 blip. Oh, there's just five things there. No, but you see it from a different view. You know what I mean? A different angle. You realize it's all one thing. You see it from extra dimensions. You know what I mean? But maybe what the fuck is this existence? You know what I mean? It's like just like a crazy nightmare realm. What's really going on here? And maybe that's just something the human brain doesn't process. But the human brain needs to get the fuck out of the gutter, and we need a higher minded society. Okay, so stick with us. We'll be here every week. Old Dog and Zippy, the Tank. Let's do it. Artists, let's do your thing. Just make some shit. Make it political. You know what I mean? It's like I'm good. I don't know, like write your love stories. That's fine, I guess. You know what I mean? But we got a lot of love stories. Got a lot of love stories. And I want to see some like cool peace and love revolution. All right. I'd like to see stories like that. The peace and love fucking revolution. All right. Peace and love. And we'll ride out with another musical interlude.